Alright, these are my optimized Steam Deck settings for the Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition. As you can see right here, we're getting 45 FPS. I'm going to turn this down. But with these settings, I've found that you can get 45 FPS basically non-stop, very stable, very few frame drops, and it feels almost as good as 60 FPS. And this is with the LCD Steam Deck. So let's go here, and we're in windowed mode. Resolution 1066 by 666. Frame cap is set to unlimited. VSync is off. 3D resolution is set to 60. Motion blur 60. Gamma 34. Fidelity, super effects, resolution, performance. And then screen effects, we're going to put on medium. This makes a huge difference to the overall look of the game. With it on low, it just looks super bad. And with medium, it has almost no performance hit. Then we're just going to have screen space, global illumination is off, view distance is low, shadows are low. You can probably put those to medium, but then you're going to have to drop it to 30 FPS. Textures, medium or high. I just have it on medium, but high doesn't really seem to have much effect. Visual effects, medium as well. Foliage, low. And of course, chromatic aberration is off. And then what we do here is limit your frame rate to 45, and then go all the way down, and make sure your scaling filter is set to sharp, and then sharpness of 5. And with these settings, I've noticed even in intense gameplay, it's pretty much constantly locked to 45. But if we uncap it, if we uncap the frame rate, let's just put it to 60. You can usually get 50 to 60 FPS. In most cases, you're going to always be 5 to 10 FPS higher than that 45 mark. And there are a lot of instances where you're also just running at 60 FPS. But with these settings, I've noticed this is just the best settings, and it seems like it actually is getting a little bit of drops here, which I wonder if that's because I have the frame rate uncapped, but I'm going to go back and cap it. But yeah, I mean, you very rarely get frame rate drops, even in like very intensive combat. I was fighting a lot of the raiders or marauders, and I was getting like no frame drops at all. It was basically a steady 45. And you know, I've heard that this version of, and I've seen on YouTube as well, this version is looked at as very unoptimized and really hard to play and get a good image. But with these settings, I feel like this is a pretty acceptable image. If we go down here and we drop the screen effects to low, I believe it's the screen effects, it makes a massive difference. Okay, so you see how much blurrier, I don't know if that is picking up on the camera, but it's a lot more shimmery with that off, and it does look a lot worse. But that's not the one that makes the biggest difference. The one that makes the biggest difference is, I think it's visual effects. Let me see. Okay, no, it's not visual effects. It is that one. So yeah, this one, you want to make sure screen effects is definitely on medium. Whenever you put it on low, it can, in a lot of areas, it can look very, very, very bad. It just doesn't seem as sharp with it set to low. There's just so much more blur, and it seems like the resolution is a lot lower than it is, which, I mean, it is a low resolution, but you see the shimmering on those stars there? I'm just going to hold this still. You see all the shimmering on those stars? If I turn that on, the shimmering should go away. So it just lowers a lot of that shimmer. And I've even played with it on higher setting. Now you notice the stars are not shimmering anymore. They're very stable. So for whatever reason, that setting has a huge impact on the fidelity of the game. Let's put it to high. That looks honestly marginally better, but not a crazy amount. You can kind of see some sun shafts there. I don't think they had those with the medium. Yeah, they're not there on medium, but it looks very good overall. So yeah, if you want to go with high on that setting, you can. It makes the biggest difference on impact. And if you want to turn shadows to medium, you can as well, but you're going to get more drops. But with these settings, yeah, you'll get a pretty steady 45 FPS for the most part. At least in the parts that I've tested so far.